Okay then, so let me tell you, around, I don't know, 3 years ago, I was on a mad writing binge and I decided to do a little WordPress just to get some writing practice out there. And I did like film reviews, game reviews, stuff like that. Uh, so yeah, I've decided I'm gonna have a read through some of them. Okay, let's go directly to the film reviews. Oh wait, let's just read that. Superscope. It was called Superscope or superscope6.wordpress.com. Welcome to Superscope, a place of geekish wonder and magnificent revelations. Sounds right. Right. What did we review? Look at these. We're just going to go. We're going to go straight to the films, and we're going to go to the first one that I did. March. Yep, here it is. On the 28th of March 2021, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie review. Here it is. There's the front cover. Great film. I remember watching this probably late 90s. Released in the mid 90s at the height of its arcade counterpart's popularity, Street Fighter II, the animated movie, is by far one of the best and worst manga movies you will see. Man, I don't remember writing this. Best and worst manga movies you will see. Why is it one of the worst? I'll find out soon. Did I? What's my grammar like? And it's here now. Okay. With a plot that can be summed up as such, the US and Chinese governments want to bring down a terrorist organization run by M. Bison, Shadow Law. Is it Shadow Law? This organization wants to recruit the best street fighters for unspecified reasons, likely involving terrorizing nations, and they are searching everywhere for our silent protagonist, Ryu. We all love Ryu. They find him at the same time as the US military representative Guile, and the final showdown ensues. Yeah, that's pretty much the film, isn't it? That's the film. In between this complex storyline, you can expect to see what fans of Street Fighter 2 would want to see. Fighting. It's true. The film is just that. Hey, Ryu beat up Sagat. Let's go. Let's find him. Anyone who can beat the crap out of Sagat deserves some attention, or something like that. That's what M. Bison says from memory. Most kids in the 90s knew who the characters were from the video game, but these games offered little in the way of personality. True. The movie gives a bit of insight into a number of lesser characters: Fei Long, the unsatisfied movie star; Nighthawk, the honor seeking Native American; Vega, the card carrying psychopath, quote, and E Honda, the jovial sumo wrestler. Yeah, me and my mate always used to chuckle at E Honda. I'm pretty sure we used to quote him. I can't think of any of his lines off the top of my head though. But yeah, he's definitely a jovial character. In regards to its lead characters, we learn a little more about them. Hard faced, yeah, we learn a little more about. Yeah, it's probably a jab. We only learn a little bit. Hard faced military veteran Guile actually has a soft side. Chun Li, an international agent from China, wants revenge for her father's death. Ken Masters, our protagonist's long lost best friend, is a brash dude who wants to beat Ryu and get married. M. Bison, the main antagonist for the game series, for the initial game series, to be fair, and film, is a maniacal terrorist intent on bringing world governments to their knees, and Ryu, the lead role. Oh, is there going to be a bit more on Ryu? Beginning the film. Oh yeah, beginning the film as a wandering hermit who, quote, beat the crap out of Sagat. By the by the time the final showdown is over, we have not learnt much more about Ryu, other than perhaps he, it, other than perhaps he, and is likely. Oh no, that's bad. Not as bad as the article I read the other day that was about the rapper Warcloud, but not good. He's likely to wander off in other directions without saying goodbye. That's true. I think he maybe. I think he definitely does it at the end. He does it at the end. It's not. It's not. It's not very nice. That maybe it's probably symbolic to some degree. But I had a friend who used to just disappear, and he didn't do it out of some sort of symbolic gesture of not wanting to say goodbye because it's not goodbye forever or something like that. He did it because he was weird. He was sneaky. I'll be honest, while I typically love manga films for their narratives, I really wouldn't have minded the film focusing more on character development. In the 90s, and now to some extent, that was not what I was after for a Street Fighter 2 movie. I sought action. I get what I'm saying. From the opening Ryu vs Sagat scene, the tiny amount of story in the film is spliced with brilliant fighting. I am aware that at the time of writing this, comma in the wrong place. At the time of writing this, the film is now over 20 years old, and the visuals may be somewhat dated, though there is a HD version available. Still, some of these scenes that make up my favourite are as much about dialogue and tone as they are visual effects. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Without spoiling the outcomes, we see matchups between Ken and Nighthawk. That's a dope fight. Delsym and E Honda, Chun Li versus Vega, Balrog versus E Honda. Yeah, that's a cool one. M Bison versus Ryu and Ken. And my personal favourite, Ryu versus Fei Long. Yeah, that's a cool fight. Everyone's there like putting money on Fei Long, and he does have, he hits Ryu with some moves, but Ryu doesn't really even need to get out of second gear. This latter duel is precluded with our antagonist being forced into a bout for making a smart aleck comment. Yeah, that's a weird thing. I always find that. I think I even found that weird then. It's like, what comment did he make? He kind of gets pushed onto a stage, onto a, a stage to fight. And wait, let me carry on reading. A surprise in itself, given his apparent humble nature. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's like why is he making smart aleck comments? With an entire crowd willing him to lose, Ryu makes short work of his opponent in the most bone-crunching of ways. That is, before he is challenged by house favourite and famous star Fei Long. This fantastic bout that showcases much of what we love about the games goes on for a bit longer than Ryu's prior. I think I just leave it with that, yeah. So I didn't ruin the outcome. Okay, I like it. Could have been worded a bit better. Outside of the fight scenes, there are probably two scenes of note that a young Oliver would have appreciated. As a grown up, I will leave one of them in my youthful past and not mention. Wait, outside of the. Oh, yeah, okay. That's an allusion to Chun Li. That's me just joking there because I never even cared about that scene. Yeah, I could work on my joke. I don't mind putting that in there as a joke, but it's not. I haven't hit the mark properly there. As a grown up, I will leave one of them in my youthful past and not mention. You are welcome to watch the film and speculate what this scene may be. Yeah, okay. The other is a 2-second clip that happens just before the Delsym and E Honda fight. As the camera pans across a nondescript street in India, sat by a wall with his legs crossed and iconic red hair, is Akuma. Everybody's favourite street fighting enigma. This was little more than an Easter egg for the geek level Street Fighter fan to catch, and I loved it. Yeah, I was a massive Street Fighter fan. I collected all the games. I didn't have all the videos, but I had a couple of the series, and I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was always like a Kuba somewhere in the background in those, but they weren't prominent. You had to go to like geeky gaming shops, which we didn't have in my town growing up. You had to go to like like big cities and get them, and they'd always be there. So I only had one of them, one of those videos. So we're not even talking DVDs. You couldn't DVDs probably weren't there at that point, or they were just coming around. So yeah, but we had this film on. My brother had it on VHS from one of his friends who was also a big fan, who got me into the game, and I collected all the games. So I didn't know every bit of lore and story from like the TV, but I knew the games pretty well. But it was mainly collecting the games and playing them, so I was okay with most characters. Right. Having touched on the lack of narrative and character development, it would be fair to say that these are my biggest criticisms. Aside from them, I suppose I could poke holes at the stereotypical nature of the characters, with the hyperbolic jock-like Americans, Ken, Guile, and for one scene, DJ, his scene is great, being perhaps the most obvious. The writers probably could have added some further depth to our main characters. I would personally have liked to argue for a bigger role for the British character Cammy, though given we don't get much from our leads, I'm asking for a bit much there. Okay, so it's not one of the worst films, unless of course you dislike 90s animes and fighting films, then I'd give it a miss. If not, have a watch. I would not suggest that the film is any more than a bit of 90s visual brain candy, and if you are a fan of the Street Fighter franchise or just cool fighting scenes, I would definitely suggest giving it a watch. So then I rated it a 6.5 out of 10, visually a 7 out of 10, and narrative 2.5 out of 10. One of my friends says I'm harsh with my judging, but I suppose the way I see things is like a 5 is okay, a 6 is good, a 7 is very good, an 8 is very, very good, a 9 is very, very, very good, and 10 is excellent. So I just think 5 is okay. So anything above 5 is good. So 6.5, that's not a low score for me. So yeah, there you have it. The Street Fighter 2 animated movie. I'm not actually sure what year it came out.